So it is mid-June, and by now, those of you that have applied for the JET program probably know whether or not you've been accepted, and you've probably already received your assignments. So congratulations. If by chance you didn't get in this year, or for some reason you're not able to accept your position this year, there's always next year, and there's other ways that you can come to Japan if you are interested in teaching and working here. For those of you that are new here, my name is Kim, and I am a former JET. I was on the JET program for 3 years, way back when it was only in its second year. I came to Japan in 1988 and stayed for 3 years because at that time, 3 years was the maximum amount of time that you could be on the JET program. I only intended to stay for 1 year, but it is now year 37, I believe. I'm assuming that all of you that are new to the JET program are anxiously getting ready to come to Japan, but this video is not only directed at all of you, but also to those of you who are current JETs and are planning to stay and remain in your position for another year. Maybe you've been in your assignment for more than 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and you're getting ready to welcome the new JETs. Sometimes I think it is just as exciting for the current JETs to meet the new participants. You're all of a sudden going to be in maybe a leadership role or a mentor for some of the new people that come in. Now, with social media, I'm sure many of you have already connected and you've probably already made connections or met and seen other people in possibly your prefecture or people that are in your same state or country that you're going to be arriving to Japan with. So it's probably not as exciting as it was back in 1988. I just remember we used to get the names and we'd all look through it and see how many people were coming. When we got photos, that was even worse because we would all say, "Oh, let's see the photos, let's see the photos." So, yeah. Now, right, no big deal. You see the name, you can probably look them up and find their Instagram or something. But yeah, it is an exciting time. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, during the summer, this is the time a lot of current JETs go to travel. Maybe they went home to their home country for a visit, or they're taking advantage of the time off to travel. They're also getting ready for Japanese festivals or summer festivals. So they might not be around when you arrive in the prefecture. You'll probably be greeted by the prefectural advisor after a week of being in Tokyo and being just maybe overwhelmed with all the workshops and all the networking and all the socialization that you're doing. Maybe you just want to come to the prefecture and just hurry up and get into your new living situation and just relax. No more orientations, please. I don't want to hear any more about it's different for every school or every situation is different, right? But I think there's ways that you can make the prefectural orientation not only valuable, but also a little bit more fun and lighthearted for all the new people coming in. It's also a good way to meet and mingle with the current JETs in a more relaxed atmosphere. One of the things that we used to do in Totori is we'd have a little committee or a group of people that were going to be around, and we used to plan different events to happen after the prefectural orientation. So naturally, they would get all the job stuff and all the formal stuff from the prefecture, the prefectural officers, but we'd always try to balance that out with more lighthearted workshops or things that we felt when we were Jets, we would have liked to have had explained to us, or we would have liked to have done with a group of people instead of just being by ourselves, not knowing what to do. And I remember back when I came in 1988. So we didn't have any internet. We didn't have any social media. We did have cameras and we did have paper guidebooks and things like that, but we didn't have the luxury of internet access or cell phones or everything digital that could help us when we were navigating our new neighborhood. So some of these ideas maybe can be upgraded or changed so it can accommodate the new technology or make things a little bit more current. I was really lucky because I had a really good group of people to work with. Now, after my 3 years were up on JET, I continued to work in Tottori Prefecture at one of the private high schools. Actually, I worked at two private high schools after JET. I was still very involved with the community. Of course, Tottori being a small rural prefecture, you got to know all the people that came in. And we would usually have one big orientation right after the Tokyo one in Tottori City. And then we would break off to either the central part of Tottori or the western part of Tottori and the eastern part of Tottori. So we did kind of break up after that, but it was really nice to have one big prefectural orientation with everybody. I don't know what it's like in other prefectures, but I'm sure you'll have a similar arrangement where you'll all have one big prefectural orientation, and then maybe you might have smaller ones in your designated part of that prefecture, especially if you're in a bigger city like Tokyo or Kyoto or Osaka, right? We broke down the orientation into different topics, and we assigned one or two ALTs, or in my case, a former ALT, to explain or talk about a certain area that we felt comfortable in talking about. It was our area of expertise, shall we say, and mine was always health and safety. We had people that were maybe the fitness people talk about good places to work out or how you can get involved in working out. We had the foodies and the people that knew about good places to eat and drink at, explain that area. We had people that had practical information about where you could take Japanese classes or where you could pursue hobbies and all that. So if you have a group of people at your orientation, break them up into different categories and let everybody have a chance to speak. I find that if you do like just one big group and you're all kind of talking at once, it can be kind of overwhelming for the new participants. I think it's kind of good to designate one person as that leader, because then if any of the new participants have a problem, they could contact that person of expertise. I was kind of lucky, but probably the circumstances were not the best. But I got called a lot to help out with different situations, taking you back through memory lane. I got called for a twisted ankle, a broken collarbone, people that got heat stroke or sunstroke, people that got extreme cases of sunburn. What else? People that felt like they were getting stalked, people that had to go to the doctor and needed someone to translate for them. In that sense, for me, it gave me a real pleasure, I guess, to help people out. I felt bad because that's the last thing you want to do when you first arrive in your new prefecture is have an accident or get sick or have something disagree with you. And especially during the summer months. If you're not used to Japan's heat and humidity and you're assigned to a place that is kind of known for its hot, humid summers. I'm saying some places because maybe if you're in Hokkaido, you won't have this situation. Um, it can be a little overwhelming, especially too, you're nervous, you're maybe a little bit stressed out, you're overwhelmed, you haven't been sleeping well, and all those things add up to, right, not feeling your best. You might be new to riding a bicycle or dealing with things like jellyfish in the ocean or mosquitoes. Or I remember in Totori, we had this bug. I think it was called a buto bug, a buto, but it has a bite similar to a mosquito bite. If you itch it, it actually scars. So if you're in one of the rural neighborhoods and you take a look sometimes at people's legs, you'll see that their legs might be all scarred up. And that's, I think, from those bugs. So, yeah. I always used to say I didn't care what time of day it was, what hour of the night it was. If you needed help in health or safety, please call me. I did have some, I guess they weren't problems. I'll say experiences or adventures. I had a lot of adventures where I had to deal with what to do if, or oh, if this happens, I need to do this, or I need to contact these people. So I felt really comfortable and confident that I could help anyone that was experiencing any of the problems that I mentioned at the orientation. I hope I helped out. I did get a lot of calls for one thing or another. Probably the biggest one was helping a girl that felt like she was being stalked and she had received messages that were, oh, what do like when you see like an extortion or a kidnapping message and they cut out letters and they make a message. Well, I don't know whether or not a Japanese person would have done that. I still have my suspicions on what I think happened, but yeah, this person was dealing with that. So, because I had had experiences dealing with the police, before you jump to conclusions, I didn't have anything, right? I didn't commit any crimes and I wasn't involved in any such crimes, but I had dealt with the police for other things. So I felt comfortable enough to take this girl to the police station and help her with her situation. So a lot of maybe veteran or second year or third year jets automatically assume that, hey, let's throw a big party, let's go out drinking, let's go out to karaoke, which is fine because, of course, it's fun to go with a new group and you want to socialize and get to know everybody in that type of atmosphere. But you also have to remember that sometimes, especially after Tokyo, when maybe you're doing that a lot and it maybe not in your comfort zone to have gone partying or out drinking every night, you just want to come back and you just want to make closer relationships, or you want to really get to know the people that you're going to be calling your neighbors or your colleagues. So we came up with these ideas that we could do during orientation or even after orientation to kind of help build those bonds, but also be somewhat instructive and somewhat social without you having to feel pressured into either participating or drinking. You can kind of go along with the crowd, but still feel involved depending on your personality. Just to let you know, too, I'm pretty introverted. I am not the life of a party. I am usually the girl in the corner in the back, sitting down, waiting for people to talk to. And if there's nobody around to talk to, I'll just sit there and eat my food. Um, I am quite extroverted in front of a classroom. Put me in front of a group of kids and I'm fine. And I think Japan has really taught me to come out of my shell because I do enjoy doing workshops or helping new people that are coming on the program, that kind of stuff, no problem. But I do remember coming on Jet and just thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to meet people? What am I going to do? Like, I'm all alone in this little Totori prefecture. There were 5 of us that were new to this prefecture that had a total of 9 ALTs at the time. Now it has since gotten a lot bigger. Our big orientation socializing was the 5 of us going out to eat and then wanting to go out to karaoke, but we didn't know like things like karaoke boxes or little rooms were available. We just thought that you go to a bar that had a karaoke, what do you call it, monitor and a sign that said karaoke. We just thought you go there. And at that time, there were hardly any English songs. I think we had a choice of Fly Me to the Moon, Moon River. And one of the things that I learned, this is really going to date me, but you guys know I'm retired, so do the math. um, one of the things I learned was that Olivia Newton-John's Have You Never Been Mellow? And some of you are probably going, who's Olivia Newton-John? I never heard of a song, Have You Never Been Mellow? But that was a song, was it back in the 70s? Maybe 80s? No, probably 70s. No, maybe 80s. Anyways, that was a song that they also had a Japanese version too. So what I used to do is put in the Japanese version and I'd sing the English version, because I remembered the words. So that was kind of like our first experience in karaoke. Now you can get a big group of foreigners, but one of the reasons why I find this a little bit overwhelming, just for my own self, is you bring a big group of 15, 20 people, and you take the room for 2 or 3 hours. Well, you only get one song. And most likely, everybody puts in the songs that everybody can sing. So you're all singing it at the same time, which is fun, especially if you've never done karaoke before, or if you're unfamiliar or you're kind of shy and you don't want to sing by yourself. So, yeah, so a lot of times you just kind of blend into the crowd, and the more extroverted or music theater style confident people will take the mic, and yeah, it's entertaining and it's fun, but it's loud, you don't really get a chance to talk to people. These ideas are ideas that you can actually talk with others, and most of them can be done at an early enough hour, so if you don't want to go out for dinner or drinking later on in the evening, you can go home. One of the things that we did in Totori that I guess I'm most proud of, I didn't come up with it. It was my friends that came up with it, but I thought it was such a cool idea. We had a scavenger hunt. We broke everybody up into random teams. We tried to get it so that everybody was with people that they didn't know. And we gave them a list of tasks to complete. It didn't matter what order they did the tasks in, but we had kind of an ending time, and the ending time was always at a beer garden. For those of you that don't I think most places, especially near the stations, will have at least one hotel or one shopping area that has a beer garden. Wait, a beer garden, a rooftop beer garden. The rooftop beer gardens are great because it's usually buffet style eating with serve yourself beer or serve yourself soft drinks. And it's kind of a nice way to end. It's informal. You don't have to dress up for it. It's usually not that expensive. And it's a nice way to end the evening. So, among some of the tasks, I was trying to recall some of them. And like I said, now it would probably not be as fun or as difficult as it was back in 1988 or in the early 1990s, because now you can just do your phone and you can probably not cheat, but you can easily get Google Maps to figure out and navigate your way. The whole purpose of us giving these tasks was, if you didn't know how to do something, what are you going to do? You've got to ask somebody, but how do you ask? And so we wanted them to come out of their comfort zone and figure out how they could ask, who they could ask, where they might go, and things like that. So some of the tasks would be like, everyone had to buy a platform train ticket, which is where you just go up to the platform. You don't get on a train, but you go up to the platform. That's usually what you would buy if you were going to go see somebody off. Nowadays, right, everybody has Suica cards or Pasmo cards. So it kind of takes away having to buy that one little ticket. We wanted them to get used to buying the tickets. Maybe your group of new Jets won't have a Suica card or a Pasmo card, but chances are they all probably have it now on their cell phone. But you could do something like have them go up to the train platform and do something like take a photo or look at the chart and see what time the next train is, or ask the station guide a question. You could have them do something like that. We also had them ride the bus. So we would tell them, okay, go to this bus stop, or you had to find the bus depot or the bus station and take the bus to this destination. It's kind of intimidating if you've never ridden on a bus before. I had reverse culture shock one time because I had no problem. I figured out how to use the buses in Japan. But there was one year I went to Hawaii and I went on the bus and I got like yelled at, like, you have to pay now, or I can't even remember what I did, but I did something opposite of what Japan does on their buses. So yeah, it's kind of fun, and you feel a little bit easier going with the small group on the bus. Like I said, our groups were pretty small, like maybe 4 or 5 people. You don't want the groups too big because then um, it might get kind of hard to do some of the tasks if it's just one big group. If you have it in a small group of 4, everybody kind of gets a turn and everybody can help each other out. So, depending on how large your group, your orientation group is, just figure it out what you think would work best. Also, too, if you're going to do a task that maybe might involve somebody or a business, maybe give them a heads up ahead of time. We used to have the group go to the nearest police box, which is called a koban in Japanese. And we actually gave them the word koban, but we didn't tell them it was a police box. We wanted them to find it. Some, of course, they looked it up in their dictionary and they figured it out. And we just wanted to alert the police box that there might be a group of foreigners coming, and we were explaining why we were having them do this task. The police in Totori were really, really nice and even took pictures with our groups. So, yeah, so if it's maybe going to involve somebody, you can give them a heads up and they can expect maybe so many groups to come, 5 groups of people coming in to introduce themselves. We had them find the Tourist Information Center. I don't know how convenient the Tourist Information Center is in other prefectures, but for Totoris, it was pretty easy to find. Nowadays, I don't think very many people use payphones, or do they? That could be a task. You could tell them to find a payphone. Um, Back in the day, the payphones took these things called phone cards. I wonder if anybody still has those. Like you put in a card and you made your telephone card. So we told everybody to get a phone card. I think because we did our orientation during the weekdays, right? We had them go to the city hall and get the trash pickup schedules. So anything practical, you can have them do these tasks. We also would tell them to go to any place to get a drink because we wanted them to stay hydrated, especially since it's summertime. Another thing along the lines of a scavenger hunt is a photo scavenger hunt, which was introduced to me by another group of people that I worked with at a school in Shizuoka. I thought that was a great idea, and it could easily be incorporated into your orientation. Now, with digital cameras in your cell phones, this would be a really easy task to do. What you do is you make a list of things or a list of spots or places or poses that each group has to do. And once they complete it, they report back at a certain time. It could be back at the place where you have your orientation. It could be at somebody's house or somebody's office. And then you share the photos. Um, just put them on a big screen. People that participated can vote and decide which team should win. Or you could have like prizes for the funniest photo, the most creative photo, etc., etc. The photos themselves, or what you're taking pictures of, are pretty easy. You can be as creative as you want with this. You could have the groups find a certain cafe or a certain, you could even just use a one like Starbucks or Tully's or whatever coffee shop is prevalent in your area and say, take a photo at this cafe. I think when we did this with the group back in Shizuoka, is you got 1 point for each member of your team that was in the photo. If you had someone else in the photo that was posing with you, that was like a bonus point because you'd have to ask the person, oh, do you want to be in our photo? I can't remember the exact scoring system, but I just remember, yeah, like if one person takes a photo, then you're not all in the photo. Now you can set up a timer a lot more easily, but yeah, we just thought it would be a fun experience to figure out, okay, how can you take this photo with everybody in it? You can give them on the list or your sheet of things to take a photo with, you can have a picture of a statue, a famous statue that's in your prefecture that's easily accessible by foot, and tell everyone to take a picture in front of this statue or in front of this landmark. I think if I recall, we had an ALT at a checkpoint at one of the coffee shops or one of the places we wanted them to go to have a snack, and then we paid for it. So, right, they could get a drink and then we pay for it, or you can give them, right, a certain number of coins and say, go do one capsule machine and bring back the toy. And whoever brings back the funniest or most original gachapon or capsule machine toy wins a prize. You can see just by brainstorming with your group, you can help make an orientation that is learning things by doing. You can tell I'm a kinesthetic learner or a firm believer in learning by doing. And most of the orientations are usually by watching or listening. So having something where you're actually doing things and learning that way, I think would be kind of fun. Another thing that we've heard good feedback from when we used to do our orientations at the prefectural level was to have like special designated days where anyone that was interested could get together and, yeah, like do something that everybody needs to do. Maybe you need to go shopping or you want to go shopping, but you don't have your bicycle yet. You're not so sure about your way around or where things are, and you want to pick up some things, but how on earth are you going to carry it to your house or right? So, because I had a car at the time and several of the other participants also had cars, we would have a shopping day where it would be shopping for like a designated item. So, hey, we're going shopping for furniture and kitchen supplies. Anyone that's interested, meet here and we'll go. Okay. Another time would be, hey, we're going shopping at the 100 yen store. So, anyone that's interested in going to the 100 yen store, come and we'll take you. And then that way you have somebody that can help you if you're not sure about the language or about what to do. You have the security of having somebody there with you. Another thing that I had no idea existed, I didn't know that I could get my things delivered to my home. So, yes, I was that girl who carried a TV set from the electronics store all the way back to my house. I don't know how I did it. I must have looked hilarious. I'm only 5 feet tall and I'm carrying this gigantic box because I didn't know you could have things delivered. Let's say you're someone that works out at the gym and you'll have a gym day. So maybe this ALT or this renewing jet will take everybody that is interested into their gym. When I lived in Shizuoka, I used to take everybody to my hairdresser. And so, yeah, I would schedule the appointment for like 4 women at the same time. And we'd all go and we'd all take up a chair. It was fun. I think it's just, you feel comfortable. And then eventually, when you feel more confident, you can go off and do your new things. But if you're someone who likes to have company or you just want to see how things work, then it would probably be reassuring to go with a renewing jet. So, renewing jets, if you could maybe find something that you would like to help out new people with and offer your services or your um, introductions, I think by all means, do it. One of the things that I guess a message that I would have to the renewing jet participants that are going to be welcoming and dealing with the new jet participants, it's something I wanted to point out. Some people are not bothered by this at all. Some people don't realize that they do it and that it might bother somebody, but it's something I notice, and I'm even really conscious, or I try to be conscious of it in my videos because I realize that maybe viewers may not know what I'm talking about if I'm constantly sticking in Japanese words that you just expect everybody to know and they don't. Let me give you an example. When we were doing orientation, this one particular person, when they were speaking about how much things cost or where to buy certain things, they would always use the word mon. Like, oh, that'll cost you 2 mon. Or, oh, all you need is a mon. And a mon is 10,000. Okay, that's the word for 10,000. So, ichimon yen would be 10,000 yen. But sometimes when foreigners talk, they they might say 1 mon, 2 mon, instead of saying 10,000 or 20,000. Or they may use the Japanese word and say ichimon or nimon, sanmon. And it rolls off their tongue very naturally because that's something that it's one of the first things you learn here in Japan is the money system. You listen for it, you try to use it when you're doing some kind of financial exchange or something. And so people say that without realizing that some of the new participants don't speak Japanese yet, or they're not familiar with Japanese yet. So when you're saying, "Oh, this is really cheap. It only costs ichiman," or "Oh, I had to pay 3 mon," and yeah, I just remember this person was like, some of the new people were saying, Kim, it's a mon, it's a mon," and so I told them, "Oh, it's 10,000 yen." Another word that is used a lot. One word is sugoi. Ah, sugoi ne. And it's kind of like an expression that people use to say, "Oh, that's cool," or "Oh, wow, that's wonderful," or "Oh my gosh, that's so great." Right? I'm not an actress. But you'll hear people go, especially like maybe it's to show that you're using Japanese or something, and people go, "Sugoi." "Oh, wow, that's so sugoi." Sound like a valley girl or something in Japan. And people have no idea. Like, sugoi is not necessarily a word that you would maybe have in your. I'm doing this like I'm using a paper dictionary when now everything's all scroll, right? Um, but yeah, it's a lot of reactionary words. Daijobu is another one. Daijobu is like, "I'm all right," or, "Yeah, I'm okay." And people say, "Ah, daijobu?" I'll be like, "Ah, daijobu." It's just one of these like words that you'll hear a lot. But I always just think it's just funny when, especially like when people are using it a lot in their speeches to groups that maybe don't have all the Japanese skills yet, you'll pick it up. And like I said, chances are most of you won't be bothered by it, but most of you may not realize that you're doing this and it might not be understood by your whole audience. So that's my little tip for this video. The last thing I'll just leave you with is, as somebody that is a veteran or someone that is renewing, and even myself, having been in Japan for the past 37 years, and having been on the side where you're welcoming new people and trying to arrange different events for new people that are coming to the school or to your community, to your prefecture, to your board of education. I I guess I'd like to say be there. If you want to help and you want to um help people with what you know to help them during their times of uncertainty or struggling or a million questions or uh just um maybe if they're having a hard time, be there if you can. And if you can't, then um I don't want to say don't offer, but there are a lot of people assigned to take care of the new JET participants. There are prefectural advisors, there are your Japanese teachers of English. They are your supervisors at your Board of Ed or your prefectural office. There are maybe your mentor teachers or, I don't know, your administration. But there are also your fellow foreigners or your fellow jet people, and there are your fellow foreign teachers or workers or wives of workers or husbands of workers or children of workers that are there to help you. But not everyone, not everyone, I don't want to say they don't want to help, but not everyone is able to help. Maybe that's a better word, because maybe they're in their own situations. Maybe they're introverts or they just aren't comfortable helping. Um, Maybe they're going through struggles of their own and they don't want you to have their negativity rub off or whatever. So if you're someone that does want to help and is able to help, be there and let the new people know that you are there to help. Because if you are one of those people that wants to help and that wants to offer what you can to help make the experience for these new jet participants a good one, then be there. And it's so rewarding. I have to say that I had some of the best summers helping at the Totori jet orientations during the time when I was there. I, to this day, I can remember all the things that we did, going to the beach, going out for ice cream, buying cell phones together, the very first little J phone cell phones, um, getting lost, sitting in my car and just talking for hours, taking people to the hospital, being there as the shoulder to cry on, or just to help people lift their spirits when they dealt with breakups. The death of Princess Diana. God, that's a vivid one. Fights. One night flings. Not with me, but with other people, and not realizing, right, what happened. Affairs. Not with me again. But, like, I don't know. I guess I could probably write a book of all the things that I've helped other people deal with, including all my stuff as well. But maybe that's why I kind of felt it was important to make this video addressing the other side of being a newbie. Because I think as new jet participants, you've already made great connections, most likely, with the people at orientation. And you've probably even made friends or close connections with some of your fellow jet people that are coming to your prefecture. Maybe even your predecessor. Maybe you've already gotten in touch with your predecessor and you've bonded there, or you've written to people. But sometimes, right, you're in the same boat. You're probably close with a lot of your fellow jet people because you're going through the same thing. I feel really strong connections with the people that I came as a new person with, whether it be on jet, whether it be arriving to a new place of employment and you all came at the same time. You kind of bond with those people, but who's the person that you can ask that you won't feel embarrassed by, you won't get in trouble by, and that could possibly help you? I know I'm not the only one out there. I know there are plenty of you that are anxiously awaiting the arrival of the new jets or new workers at your school. And yeah, I guess my message is the relationship that you will build with your juniors can either be positive or negative. So to those of you that are able to help, want to help, and can help, make it known to the new incoming jet participants, so that you can provide that comfort for them and you can make their transitional experience an easy one. They're all going to have most likely the same problems, culture shock, reactions, frustrations, highs and lows that you did. And it sure would be nice if they're able to share it with you and not feel like, oh my God, I did something so stupid, or what do I do, right? So, okay. I hope that helps. I hope that offers a little bit of insight to those of you that are renewing and are getting ready to meet the newbies. And I hope it gives a little bit of maybe reassurance or understanding from the new people about where this new relationship that's forming might happen. Somebody was getting a little impatient, so I think it's time that we call it a night. If you are interested in what it's like on the JET program or teaching in Japan, what life is like in Japan, please consider subscribing, because I'd love to have you as part of this community. If you have questions, or if there's anything that maybe you want to know or you've experienced here in Japan on the JET program, ideas that you have for orientation, anything at all, please feel free to write them in the comments. Write them in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer what I can. I mean it when I say if you need help or if there's something I can help you with, please comment below, and I'll see if I have any resources that can help you or just give you a listening ear or a shoulder to cry on. All right, and I guess we will see the new JET participants arriving next month. I'm so excited for all of you. Congratulations. So, yeah, and those of you that are planning orientations, good luck. Thanks again, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye now. Bye. Banditsy, bye.